Hello, this is Kathy Lewis from Financial Information Systems. Welcome to this Concur Approvers webinar. The approval process is really pretty straightforward and simple. From the Concur homepage, there are multiple navigation routes to approve expense reports. There is an approval link in the top left corner of your screen. Right below that, on the right side of your page, you'll also see under Required Approvals the number of documents awaiting your review. And if you scroll down a little bit under My Task, you'll also see documents that are awaiting your approval. So you can navigate to those documents by any of those links. When you open up the approval screen, you'll see the name of the document, and these are all expense reports. Who submitted the report, the date of the report, the amount due the employee, and the requested amount. Now the difference between amount due employee and requested amount, the requested amount is the total amount of the report minus any personal cost. So think of requested amount as the amount that will hit your department GL account. The amount due the employee might be less if some of the charges on the expense report were already charged to the travel card. So you'll be able to see the detail of the expenses when we review the individual reports. So we're going to start with a simple one first, and I'm just going to click on the report name to open it up. Next to the report name, I'll be able to see the name of the person who submitted this expense report or who it's for. And this is related to a trip that was taken to the Johnstown campus, and the traveler is claiming mileage for using their personal car and turnpike tolls. When you see icons, you can hover over them and they will show you what that icon is relating to. So the icon that looks somewhat like a wheel or a pie chart shows you the allocations for that expense item. So you'll be able to see the account that was charged. Now, if I go under Details and I look at Report Header, when someone creates an expense report, there will always be an account, a default header account. So account numbers, if they are not entered at the line level for the expenses, they will automatically default to this header account. So if you don't see this allocations icon, you can assume that the accounts got charged to the header account. This allocation icon indicates that charges have been charged at the expense line level to an account other than the header. I can also see the accounts charged under Details. So there's a lot of information that approvers can see under this detail link. And if I go under Allocations and Summary, I will be able to see the dollar amount and the account to which it was charged. Here you can see they're using a reference number. Notice that you will not see subcodes. Subcodes are hard-coded to the expense type, so the preparer of the expense report doesn't have the ability to enter subcodes. If you want a list of subcodes and which ones are applied to the different expense types, you will be able to find that on the Travel and Expense Management website. The other icon is an icon that will show you comments. So once you're ready to approve, just click the Approve button and just accept this final confirmation, which basically means that you have reviewed this and certified that these are expenses that do adhere to the university travel policy. Okay, and we will open up the next expense report. Now, when you see this symbol that's the yellow triangle, somewhat looks like a caution sign, it's telling you that there might be some exception on this expense report. And actually, it should give you the detail of what the exception is relating to. So it looks like that there's per diem and group business meals being claimed on this expense report. It might also tell you that this expense report is exceeding that 30-day limit of like the travel date to when the expense report was created. These warnings do not prevent you from being able to approve the expense report, but they're extra things you might need to pay attention to. So let's take a look at the conference. So this one's a little more detailed. They're claiming meal per diems, and it does show you a daily breakdown, a group business meal and lodging, and a car rental. When you see expenses that are a green circle with these horizontal lines, that indicates that these expenses were put on the travel card. So lodging, car rental went on the travel card. And if I hover over it, it will show me that transaction, the credit card transaction. Now this is dummied up data for demo purposes. The travel cards are not American Express cards. They are MasterCards. If I hover over the other icon, it will show me the receipt. And again, this pie chart looking icon shows me the account that was charged. If I see these greater than symbols next to an expense, that indicates that it can be enlarged to further detail. So if I open up lodging, when your preparer enters an expense report for lodging, they do have to itemize it by daily charges. So I'm able to see the daily room and tax rate, any additional daily fees, or maybe just a one-time fee. So there was lodging, internet fee, and some express mail. So if we look at the icon for comments, it looks like while that person was staying at the hotel, they overnight mailed something that the hotel may have taken care of and just charged to their hotel bill. If there are a number of expenses and they each have receipts attached to them, if you don't want to review receipts line by line, there's a quicker way to do it. I can go to Receipts and View Receipts in New Window. And what it will show me, I could just scroll down and it will show me all the attached receipts one after another. So it makes viewing a little bit easier. Also, if the expense report is lengthy and you don't want to check account number assignment for every line, I would go under Details and Allocations. And then just go to Summary. And here I can see the total dollar amount that's being charged to this one account. A little easier to view it that way. Now, the group business meal is one of the items where we have an exception. And I can open this up. So if we take a look at this, we can see the total dollar amount was $240, but the amount being claimed is $210, a lesser amount. And it looks like they itemized. So they're claiming some of this as a personal expense that will not be reimbursed. So if we look at the detail for the group business meal, we could see that this was a meal that was provided at a board meeting that this person conducted. And if we hover over this other icon, we can see the attendees. So it is showing 3 attendees at $70 each, and the person is claiming $210. But the total for the group business meal was $240. So that went above policy of $70 a person. So they're deducting the overage via a personal expense. And notice the personal expense amount is $30, but under requested it shows 0 because that will not be charged to your default or your departmental account because of it being a personal expense. And if we look under comments, we could see that they're deducting that $30 overage. It was due to alcohol. So they're assuming that cost. So what is going to get charged to your departmental account is not $240, it's the requested amount, which will be the $210. Notice also that we see the total amount, which is the total amount of all charges on the report. The requested amount is total minus any personal charges. But this total requested does not necessarily reflect what the person is being reimbursed. Again, if there were any charges put on a credit card, those will be deducted. So if we go under details and totals, you'll see the report total minus personal expenses. The amount claimed is what gets charged to your departmental account. It deducts from that anything that was charged to the travel card. PITS CBCP is the travel card. And then you will see what is due the employee. Now, if I want someone else to review this, maybe because of the nature of the charges or the dollar amount or just some question, I can choose approve and forward this on to someone else. The person that you forward this to doesn't necessarily have to be a designated approver in the system. I'm in a demo system, and I don't believe I have anyone else to forward this to, but all you would do is put in that person's name, search by last name first, and you could put a comment in. And then just approve and forward to that other person. And I'm just going to approve this. And I'll open up the next report. And again, you can see meals are being claimed using the per diem. An emergency purchase was made, and it was put on the travel card. Here you can see the receipt, and you can always enlarge the receipt to view the details. And see if they included some comment. They bought an external hard drive. Well, let's say maybe you have some question about this. What was this purchase for? So maybe you want to send it back. And you can see I've used this one before, but you would just send it back with the comment. And click OK. and you'll get the confirmation that it was sent back to the user. And then the last one here. Now, let's say this was for someone who's going to be traveling out of the country, and their destination does require some vaccinations. So before they even left, they got those inoculations, paid out of pocket, and once reimbursed for them. So you would be able to see the receipt and the account number charged. And in this case, we're seeing that multiple accounts were charged. This is a split distribution. And also notice that 2 different department numbers are being charged. So we can see 02024 and 02025, 2 different departments. Now, this is very different in this system in that your preparer does have the ability to charge departments outside of their home department. You were not able to do that in internet expenses because of security rules. If they charge to a department outside of their home department, then that expense report is going to get flagged for additional review. So in addition to going to the department approver, the home department, simultaneously it will also go to that other department. And the approver in that other department is referred to as a cost object approver. So if I go under details and I look at the approval flow, and again, being that I have like a dummied up user here, I'm not seeing an actual approver, but your name would display here as the departmental approver, and then the approver for that other department is also going to display here. Now, the reason why they have this plus sign, if they wanted to forward this on to someone additionally in their department, they can do that. But you would see who that other approver is. Both you and that other approver must approve this before it would go on to payment processing. Either one of you would have the ability to return it to the user. Approvers cannot modify expense reports. You're not able to modify account numbers. You can only send it back, and either the preparer or the traveler has the ability to make the modifications and resubmit it. You also have an expense report. So if I go to this print and email option, I can bring up this detailed report. When you see a report key, that is the expense report number. So in internet expenses, there were TR numbers. Here you'll see, for right now, they're 3-digit numbers, but they're referred to as report keys. You'll also see the status of the report and the details. So you see the expense type, the amount, the allocations, and then a summary of report total, amount due employee, etc. So a nice summary of the expense report. And you have the ability to save that as a PDF, or you can email it or print it. And again, you can either approve it forward, or send it back with a comment. If you send these back to your preparer, they will get email notification that it's been returned to them. Or if it moves on, you've approved it, they will also get email notification. In addition to taking action on new expense reports that have gone into your queue, you can go under Approvals and Reports, and then View, and then you can view reports that you've taken action on, either from the past year, quarter, month, etc. Or just look at all the ones that are currently pending approval, and you can view the status of them. You can open them up to view the detail. You can print them, any of the actions that we've looked at. So you'll always be able to go back in time and look at any of the reports that you have taken action on. Anytime you need to refresh your screen, just go back to the Concur icon. So right now, I have no approvals, but remember too, you will get email notification when something has gone into your queue. Now, I know a lot of approvers are people who also work with level reports, so I just want to show you how these expenses from the expense reports show up on the level reports, the level 1 reports. You will see individual expense detail. So here is a trip with expenses from a trip that Tom Young's took. So in the description column, we are seeing the traveler's name and also the name of the report, something that describes usually the purpose of the trip. These are individual expense items. One might be food, another one might be a turnpike toll, etc. If you see T card in the identifier column, that indicates that that expense was put on the travel card. Now, there are also expenses related to this trip. So again, we see the traveler's name, but they do not say T card in the identifier column. So that would indicate their expenses, but they were out-of-pocket expenses that were not on the travel card. This number that you see here is the report key. Now, Heather Lego has recently she's had it added, this report key also has had it added to the description column for T-card transactions, travel card transactions. So you would see that same key number in front of the traveler's name in the description column. So that way you'd easily be able to identify all the expenses that are associated with one report. So that concludes the webinar. I hope this information has been helpful. If you have any questions as you're starting to review and approve expense reports, please feel free to contact the Panther Express Customer Help Desk. Thank you for watching the webinar.